organizations will say, no, I want this completely done, right? Don't send me a box with an overhead projector, because there's no way we can get this all installed and working and connected and all of that, right? So you have to have all the services and, connected to do it. And if you're making these things in China, you're not going to be able to have your people flying out of China and installing a projector in Sydney or anywhere else in the world. Right? You're going to need to work with partners. You're going to need to work with local distributors, with third-party logistics, with service and installation and maintenance companies. And so if you think about being a global company, managing that ecosystem of partners globally is a huge and daunting task. I've worked with one of China's largest private enterprises. It's going to be, in the next few years, a $100 billion company, ICT. It's exactly what they do. They send advanced telecommunications equipment all over the world, but it needs to be installed. It needs to be shipped. It needs to be there on time. It needs to be in a particular suburb, in a particular location, and then you need to have a service crew to install it. So it's a hugely complicated task if you want to do that in more than 70 countries all over the world. And therefore, you cannot do this on your own, because you will be too expensive, it'll take you too long, and you need to work with this ecosystem. Right? So especially, as we're moving away from linear, sequential processes to much more fluid, interactive ways of working, and therefore, companies need to become what I call digital orchestrators. Right? Managing these connected ecosystems instead of becoming capital-intensive builders of their own networks. That's no longer going to work. Because A, you won't have the capital to do it, B, it will take you too long, and C, you will deliver a suboptimal experience, because you can't be good at everything. Now, the good thing is, there are some great technologies out there that can help companies to actually do this. Right? And I've mentioned a few. I sort of see 10 key core technologies. The first one is blockchain. Providing smart contracts, providing good provenance and tamper-proof visibility across the entire value chain. The Internet of Things and the industrial Internet of Things will provide real-time visibility across global supply chains. Sensors on materials handling equipment, sensors on transportation equipment, whether it be a truck, a van, a bike, a plane. Everything can be tracked and is being tracked by the leaders. And so we have instant and real-time visibility of what's going on. Social media, interacting with customers in real time, involving them early in the design, getting early feedback on a concept or a pilot product or a service. Great example, one of the most successful fashion retailers out of Japan, Uniqlo. So we worked with them, and they actually, we capture live feedback on social media about their clothes, what they actually put into the stores. And we analyze all that social media chatter. And then not only will we then provide it back to their design teams, no, we then actually have created a supply chain that can actually rapidly incorporate that feedback, adjust a trim, a color, a button, etc., and produce it rapidly and have it back on the shelves within 4 weeks. Right? So, it's that sort of level of using digital to be able to rapidly respond is very important. But also involving customers early on, like Starbucks. They invite customers through My Starbucks to develop their own coffees and lattes and what have you. I bet you the chai, decaf, mocha lattes come from that process. But yeah, absolutely. Getting interaction with customers is very important. And then drones and automated vehicles with smart delivery options anytime, any place, anywhere at absolutely lowest cost. People are skeptical. We've all seen the media hype around the self-driving vehicles and the drones, but it's not a joke. It's real, and some of my clients actually doing this, right? And maybe not yet at the level and scale where I can just order a pizza and it will be delivered by a drone, but certainly within their own premises. So you think about distribution centers. They're leveraging drone technology to pick small items from the highest racks and shelves and bring it down to the pickers. Right? So you can completely start to rethink the design of your distribution center and your pick locations based on that sort of technology. With all of that, cybersecurity is absolutely paramount, right? The level of intrusion and data that can be used in harmful ways is scary, and we've seen it. For example, grocery retailers will work with manufacturers of white goods to install barcode readers and sensors in fridges. So when you scan out your milk, it will order it. Now imagine, we're going to have hundreds of millions of fridges connected in everybody's kitchen to a Walmart or Carrefour or Woolworths. I mean, that's a huge impact. And all these devices are all sensitive. They're all Wi-Fi connected. They're all easily hackable. And so, it's that level of cybersecurity that we need to get into. Big data analytics, leveraging advanced analytics to drive unparalleled insight and foresight. Custom manufacturing, 3D printing, I talked about that. It's about that mass customization and then the speed of delivery. And certainly if you think about remote locations, the time travel to get there and the actual cost of holding inventory is going to be prohibitive. AI, using machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence to actually continuously evolve, right? And work hand in hand with humans to optimize beyond current capabilities. Virtual reality, the ability to co-design products, enable field service workers, etc. And lastly, RPA, robotic process automation, taking all the transactional tasks away from humans, right? Our roles will change because everything that is repetitive will be and can be automated, right? And people often say, a lot of jobs will disappear and seeing doom and gloom. I don't subscribe to that view. We've seen this with every industrial revolution, right? When the steam engine came and all the factory workers were laid off, they said, this is a disaster, the end of the world, but I don't believe it because it will create so many new jobs. It will create so many new roles. And that's what companies ought to focus on, right? And people in the workforce, right? Focus on the new opportunities, focus on the new things, because yes, repetitive, boring tasks will be automated, but that's good because then we all can focus on value add and other things. Right? So those are some of the key technologies that we see being made available. So inside these supply networks will be multiple unique supply chains, and companies need to make decisions in real time across all these chains and their interdependencies. And you cannot do that by looking at it as a human being. You need to automate some of that stuff. Right, so I was working with one of my clients. We implemented this global supply chain control tower, and it will send alerts when things go wrong. When you get to the tune of 500 alerts of things that go wrong per hour, there's no way you can manage that. Right? Yeah, you can throw 500 people at it, but that's not sustainable from a cost point of view. You need to actually you need to automate that, and you need to build in logic, and you need to have the system actually working smarter to resolve some of these things themselves, right? And so future supply chain technology will use artificial intelligence, machine learning, and other techniques to improve the interactions between peoples. One example as well, of that application of all that technology was in shipping. Companies can now use a platform to run simulations of different options for routes and ports, where the port operators and logistics experts can use that application to make faster and better decisions on rerouting options. So with that technology, one of the port shipping companies reduced the time to make port rerouting decisions from 6 hours to 60 seconds. Right? So that's a massive, because if you need to do rerouting multiple times a day, that wasn't possible. You could do one rerouting a day in the morning, and then you send out the new itineraries, and that was it. Now they can do it on an ongoing basis, right? And it's actually saving them $100 million a year just in that port. Then a few things about value of Industry X.0 and the impact to both the income statement and the balance sheet. It does affect both across the design, manufacturing and service functions. So it drives new revenues by enabling faster innovation, releasing manufacturing capacity and improving service. Industry X.0 reduces the cost of goods sold by enhancing design for manufacturing and servicing and improving yield and utilization of assets and workforces. It also reduces indirect costs by optimizing engineering labor, reducing maintenance costs, and even SG&A will be reduced. We're going to enhance new product introductions and optimize service costs. And lastly, working capital will be minimized by designing for modular production and improving factory and equipment utilization. I think the value and the potential of Industry X.0 is indisputed, but what do you need to do? So, in their own journey, companies must address 6 strategic imperatives. Firstly, they must transform the core. Digitize and integrate engineering, production and the support functions to achieve new levels of efficiencies by obtaining strategic digital alignment, ensuring a consistent understanding and a deployment of digital strategy across the company, and an ecosystem with an enhanced focus on digital trust and security. They must integrate for a connected value chain with integrated hardware and software, synchronizing that across the value chain and the product lifecycle. And then they need to automate at scale to optimize production runs and improve overall equipment effectiveness, OEE. Secondly, they need to innovate their business model. Invent new revenue streams for new sources of value by reinventing the product, building intelligent and connected products from scratch that are capable of adaptive interactions. They need to extract M2M man-to-machine synergies, jointly leveraging the Internet of Things and the industrial Internet of Things to extract sharper insights and find new sources of synergistic value at the level of the workforce and or for their customers. And they need to incubate as-a-service business models, transforming into as-a-service business, leveraging software-based services and pay-per-use revenue models. It's not an overnight shift, but you've got to start somewhere, right? And this will allow you to do it. Right? Digital will allow you to do it. Not all your customers will go there straight away, but certainly the new ones will. Thirdly, you need to focus on experiences and outcomes. Create personalized value to lead in the market, and you need to move to hyper-personalization, designing and deploying products,